Welcome to the Barack Obama approved world's greatest podcast, Hyphen Nation. I am your host. Actually, I'm going to take these headphones off. I am your host, B Hyphen, aka Kellen Conley. Man. Welcome in. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitch right now. I got no time to waste on this one. I am under a little time crunch, but I got something I've been needing to talk about for several months now. This episode is brought to you by Polar, Ruby Red Grapefruit Sparkling Water. Brr! Morgantown weather report. We're jumping right in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, man. Currently, it's 50 degrees. 50 degrees, man. Looks like tomorrow we're going back down to 39, then 44 with rain, 38, 39, and then Monday, 36 with snow, 38 with snow, 37 rain and snow, 39 partly cloudy next Friday, and 45 next Saturday. So, when the last time I lost a really close friend, and let me preface this by saying R.I.P. Kevin Littell, tragically lost his life during the big snowstorms a few weeks ago here in Morgantown. Thankfully, they were able to find him, but R.I.P. Kevin, man. Kevin was a major supporter of everything local. He loved local music. And from 2010 to 2014, 15, he was everywhere. He was always pretty much right by our side is what it felt like. And he recorded so many videos of us unasked. He just wanted to do it. He hung out with us. He partied with us. And he got married to this wonderful woman named Lisa, and they had a nice little life together, and then he tragically got ripped away. So, R.I.P. Kevin, man. He was a good dude. He was just a straight shooter, man. No nonsense. Loved local music, loved everybody. A friend to all, honestly. Just shout out to Kev. Well, that's not why I'm here. I just wanted to say that about Kev real quick. So, to set the scene for you, in 2020, April 2020, God, I can't believe we're coming on April 2020. It's almost been 5 years. I'm pretty sure it's 2020. I don't think it's 2021. It could have been 2021. It's almost 4 years, 5 years. Lost one of my close friends, Derek Ferguson. And I did a whole episode about it. I believe it's episode 187, just called Derek. Derek was also on the show. I think that was episode 89 or 90, where we got to sit down and talk. Plus, there's archives of me and Derek's conversations from his Better in the Dark podcast that he used to do with my other friend, Tom DJ. So his voice is available and out there for you whenever you want. But most importantly, please go find Derek Ferguson's writing. He's an amazing writer, even more amazing person. And it still sucks that he's no longer here. But on August 24th, I had just woken from a nap. And groggily started looking at my phone on a Saturday afternoon. And I get a text from my boy Emma, Jonathan. And he's like, dude, WTF happened to Moose? That was at 4:12. About 4:45, he texted, never mind, man. Someone hit me up. Moose is gone, man. The Moose in question we're talking about, not U92 the Moose, but shout out to the radio station, shout out to college radio here in Morgantown. It made me who I am to sit in front of you today. It definitely had a huge impact. Because I fell in love with the sound of my voice doing radio. But Moose, or Moose Smith, was born Ernest Fronteo. And Moose took his own life. He killed himself back in August. And it blindsided everybody. Because the first thing you need to know about Moose didn't give a fuck. And when I say that, when it came to humor and came to something being funny, Moose was number one with a bullet. He was funny. He knew what was funny. He found things that was funny and shared it constantly across Facebook and Instagram. I have, like, every few days, man, Moose would just hit me up with some random meme because he was already putting so much info and like so many memes on his own pages. But this is our whole relationship, man. Not our whole relationship, but this is how it was. Okay, January 3rd. Sent him a couple of things back. January 29th. February 3rd. February 3rd, he sent me his projector. I sent him a GIF, and the image on the screen was ginormous. I sent a GIF. It said, "It's huge." And he said, "That's what she said." Then, oh my God, there's voice messages. He sent a meme of Undertaker taking Hulk Hogan's underwear. Fuck Hulk Hogan. And that's because he's racist, first and foremost. Oh, come on, play. Oh, come on. There's voice memos right here. Oh, they won't play. I'll have to come back to that. March 5th. March 29th. March 22nd. Now, mostly it was wrestling stuff for me. May 15th. Drake getting beat up by J. Cole. I mean, not J. Cole, by Kendrick. Oh, man. Just constantly with Robert Downey Jr. as Black Panther. All the way up to August 18th was the last thing that he sent me. Oh, man. Moose just loved to laugh. He loved to laugh, and he loved to make people laugh. And from the outside, Moose seemed to be an always jovial person. Seemed like nothing could get my guy down. Here, I do have something here that definitely has his voice. That's me. Go check out my album if you haven't already. I don't like how Google Photos has now integrated AI into the search. That's pretty annoying. just go to his Facebook page. Because I need to get his voice in this pod. Moose loved TikTok. He loved pranks. He loved making people do dumb shit. He posted this rapper with this really tiny head and his do-rag on, and I'm gonna hold it up for the screen right here. But I'm mostly gonna turn it up. I got too many hoes.
Oh, I know you lying. Does anybody else think he looks like one of the roaches from Men in Black?
Oh, I know you lying. I know you lying, man. It's so hard to start. But I guess I have to go back to the very beginning with Moose. Moved to Morgantown in 03. By 04, I had moved in with two of my best friends, Steve and Wes. Wes began DJing in Morgantown at local bars. And he befriended someone named Cortez Hairston, better known as DJ Strizzy. Now, Strizzy, from the moment I met him, was one of the best DJs I'd ever seen in my life. I met DJ Wise. I know DJ Wise. Very talented DJ. Shout out to Scott Fury. That's my man. But Strizzy's a stronger DJ than him. That's not a challenge, Fury. I'm just saying. And Strizzy started coming over to the house and hanging out with Wes. And then I got to know Strizzy through Wes. And, we would just kick it. And at some point, Cortez brought in this guy named Moose. And Moose started coming and hanging out every now and then. Moose was also a DJ. So suddenly I went from knowing one DJ in my life to knowing 3 DJs. Just like that. Which is cool. I mean, I was a rapper, so it's like, it's good to know DJs sing his records out there. But I wasn't ready yet, folks. I wasn't ready yet. I was definitely like...
What is you doing, baby?
Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing yet. I wasn't even counting boards at this time. But through Wes meeting Cortez to Wes introducing us to Moose. Excuse me. And Moose was hilarious. He had no filter. No, it wasn't even no filter. He preferred not to have a filter. Because I truly believe in my heart of hearts that if he had to be quiet about something, he could do it. He just chose not to. He didn't care. He didn't care. He was going to say what he felt. No matter how ignorant or rude it was, if he thought it was funny. This man had known me for several years. And I was out somewhere, and he's talking, hey, what's up, Hyphen? What's good, bro? Like, oh, blah, 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 Like, yeah, that's what's up. Angel's sitting right beside me. And tell me why he proceeded to cozy on up the Angel and just start kicking, like, he's like, hey, what's up, girl? Blah, 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 blah. He had met Angel before. And I was like, yo, I thought he was being dumb. I was like, yo, Moose. He's like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, that's my girl, yo. And he's like, no. I'm like, Moose, you've known this for years. This is my girl. Like, he's known it for at least 2 to 3 years before this happened. He's like, I'm so sorry. It's like, it's okay. I mean, thank you. But I got to know Moose because he was a DJ. So when we went out all the time in our 20s, if we weren't going to Elements and seeing Strizzy there, we would be going to Chasers and seeing Strizzy there. Or Moose, or going to Shooters and seeing Wes or Strizzy, or going to Club Z and seeing Strizzy or Moose. So it was just a constant thing of me always seeing the guy. And it was just on some casual stuff. It was just on some casual shit. I'm an adult. I can curse if I have to. Welcome to Barack Obama Approved World's Greatest Podcast. It was just a casual thing, and which was cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But there were I didn't think too much of it. But Moose he would just pop up at the most random times in my life, especially when I first met him. But I thought the dude was hilarious. I thought he was a good DJ. Never had a problem with him. But little did I know what kind of impact he would have on my life. So Moose would come to shows sometimes. So I started performing locally in 2005 at 123 Pleasant Street, and sometimes at Club Z, sometimes at sometimes at Fuel, a club named Fuel. And we would, and sometimes at the Mountain Lair for an up all night event in the basement of the Mountain Lair at the Side Pocket Pub. So I would always constantly be there, like doing these things at shows. And I was with Sound Vision, and we would be performing, and then Moose would come through, and Moose knew all of them. He knew Eric, he knew E, he knew Monster Long, he knew Six, he knew Beans, he knew Johnny, he knew Jathara. Another one, shout out to the GOAT, man. Shout out to Corey, man. He knew the whole crew, and everybody just seemed to love him. And I was like, dang, man, like, this Moose guy's pretty dope, isn't he? He's pretty dope, isn't he? And you just never knew where you were going to run into Moose. So Jonathan, who I mentioned earlier, I met Jonathan through Wes, and Jonathan also DJ'd at Chasers and DJ'd locally, but he was my plug into U92 initially because he was on the show called The Urban Diner, and he used to do that show on Saturday nights. And so I believe it was him who brought me to see Monster Lung in 2005, aka E, aka now one of my best friends. We're working on some stuff. Nerve Fresh coming soon. But like, I don't know, man. Jonathan knew Moose. And so again, sometimes I'd be out with Jonathan and Moose would pop up, and then they'd be the best friends. And I'm like, man, everybody loves this guy. I had no beef with him. I was just like, wow. And honestly, if I have to think really hard about it, I can't think of anyone I know next to E, because E has done so much locally for students and for musicians and for just the community in Morgantown, and with his father preceding him. Shout out again, rest in peace to the gods, man. Shout out to Norman, man. That he is someone who's always well liked. Or I know Eric Jordan, like that's my dude. I was just with him. Like, that was who Moose was. Everybody loved Moose, man. So, late 2007, I had finally released my fourth mixtape at the time, the Minds Mixtape Volume 3. And there was a show that came up like right in December of 2008. Or was that right? In 2000? It came out in December. Yeah, so it was like early 2008. I'm pretty sure it was 2008. I had a show. My boy Ed was there. Matt was there. And I had a set. And I was like, oh, yeah. Plus, I just put out this diss record on this local rapper who I had issues with. And now me and that same rapper have a great relationship. And he sings country music and is doing quite well for himself. Shout out to you. Because I ain't going to put that business out there. It's out there if they want to find it. Whatever. I made up. Apologize. We good. But this show, I just had I had on my Hove shirt, my long tee, Jay-Z shirt, airbrush. It had Jay-Z in like silver sparkly letters at the bottom, man. And I was gonna kill him. And like this is gonna be the first time I got to perform. It's Hyphen Bitches live. Like it was like this is a big deal for me, you know. And I think I only got like 15 minutes, whatever the set was. I was an opener. That's who I still prefer to open. Honestly, it's so much easier than headlining. But I gotta get my reps up. I know. Why do I keep whispering? And that night will always be memorable to me because that was the last time I believe that Matt Chivalry ever got to do Hype Man for me. Was after that fourth mixtape had been released. Ed came on the stage and was partying with us. But who of all people would pop up out of nowhere? Moose. And Moose had in these cat eye contacts. Had his eyes looking all dope and shit, man. Fresh baldy, long tee with, I want to say Sylvester on it. Don't quote me. And they were just rocking, man. We just rocking to the new joints. And you know, like, I had a little moment. I had a really small moment. But then Angel was taking pictures. And I went and looked back at the pictures. And I was like I saw Ed. I saw Matt. And I saw Moose. And I was like, yo, we looked awesome. I'm up here rocking and Moose is in the back, like partying. And I was like, man, I love that guy. I don't know why I love that guy, but I do. I just do.
Give me what I want.
He always gave me what I wanted. Always. And after that, I'd see Moose every now and again. But I didn't see him often. When I saw him, was always completely like, what up, my dude? What up? Yo, I'm great, you know. Blah, 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 blah. And he's always cracking jokes. And he just always seemed like a great person, you know. But it was always with me and him in the beginning. We were just acquaintances. We were in each other's orbits, but we fuck with each other. Now, I don't recall any of this. I was young and naive, and I just didn't know any better. But there was times that Moose struggled with drug addiction, like cocaine, that kind of thing. I don't know what else he might have been into, but mostly it was cocaine. Not to put his business out there, but he did. And I have been told stories when he was really down on his luck and really bad with it. But I never got to see that side of him. So that side of him is a million miles away from my memories of him. But by 2008, I was down on my luck. I had no place to stay because, to be completely honest with you, and if I ever decide to go into this on another pod or on the essay or something, but look, 2008, I had my own problems. Me and Angel broke up in 2007 for the summer. We got back together, but she wasn't around. She had moved back home to take her first full-time teaching job. It's just me and my boy Ed in me and Angel's old house. We worked at Teletech. Cool. Right up the hill, had a friend who worked at High Life Lounge, which is like a video gambling spot. Friend at High Life Lounge gave me plenty of beer whenever I wanted. Free beer. Tankers of Bud Light whenever I wanted. No problem. No questions asked. So I could go there any night she was working and just get fucked. Just get completely fucked. But really, 2008, while it's not blurry, I was an alcoholic. I was. I say accidentally, but I got fired from my telemarketing job at Teletech for call avoidance. And even though it was more like I just didn't say anything on the call, and then there was like a sniffle in the background, they didn't say anything, but my team lead at the time didn't love my call numbers anyway, and he used the opportunity to get rid of me. So had no job, no funds other than what I was getting off of Angel. Me and Ed had kind of fallen out because I didn't have money, and he's carrying all this weight of the rent payments on his own. Had no, couldn't pay the gas bill, so we had no hot water in the house. And it was like that up until our lease was up in May. Did I try to figure out my life and find some place to go? No. I just went with Ed to Jonathan's house because Jonathan's like, oh, my roommate's moving out. Come move in with me, Ed. And who came with Ed? This guy. Did I ask anyone? No. I just showed up with my stuff. And I lived there for pretty much summer 2008. Didn't pay no rent. Didn't have a job. Had a job here and there, but nothing serious. Other than my radio job. Which by that time, I believe I was getting some kind of, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but, you know, like the little work study jobs. That was my work study job, was a radio station. So other than that, all I'm doing is eating, getting fat, and drinking my face off and partying all the time. I ain't give a fuck. I've apologized to Ed and Jonathan at this point. Obviously, it's years later. They've forgiven me, and I still wish I could just drop $1,000 into both their laps for summer 2008. But I was a piece of shit. Let's be honest. But this ain't about me. This ain't about me. It's about Moose. I'm not sure when the movie Walk Hard came out, the Dewey Cox story. But I don't know if I had been out of town or something. But I came back into town, and Jonathan was like, yeah, me and Moose have been hanging out here. He's clean, but you know, we just been hanging out, so Moose might come by later. I was like, all right, cool. I love Moose. And Moose did come by, and we watched the DVD of Walk Hard, all three of us. And when I say that we laughed and laughed and laughed until we cried, is an understatement. And something that stuck with me and Moose until the day he died was, if you're not familiar with the movie, Dewey had a brother when he was little. His brother died in a horrific comedic accident. And his dad always hated Dewey for it. So he would just look at Dewey and be like, wrong kid died. Which is so messed up to say to a child, but it was so hilarious every time he'd say it. Every time Dewey's life would kind of go off the rails, even though he was a famous country singer, because it was a parody of Walk the Line. Like, wrong kid died. And me and Moose would just always crack up about that. But that was the first time that me and Moose had ever hung out in a regular setting outside of being out and partying. And so I immediately love Moose even more. Now, somehow in between the time that Dewey Cox happened to the time that I moved to South Park, I got my life together. I started working in the shoe department. Angel got a job in Marion County, which was 45 minutes away from Morgantown, so she moved back up here. We got a place back together in late 2008, and then her brother and sister were starting school at WVU in 2009 in the spring. Or not the spring, in the fall of 2009. So they were we got a house all together in South Park, and somehow maybe me and Jonathan were talking about it, but I realized that Moose loved professional wrestling. And this is another reason I will never let professional wrestling go. It's given me so many valuable moments in my life. So many valuable moments. And we were talking about wrestling. And at that time, I was kind of watching Raw when I could catch it, or like I wasn't fully invested. I got out when I went to college, which would have been 2001, but I would still turn it on and kind of know what was going on. But pretty much from 2001 until 2007, I wasn't really invested. But what brought me back into it was when I realized that The Undertaker went back to the dead man gimmick and there's something in my eye, of course. And no, it's not a tear. It's literally something causing me pain. I think I got it. When Undertaker went back to the dead man gimmick and he won the Royal Rumble, spoilers, in 2007 and went on to face Batista at WrestleMania 23. And I remember getting the DVD from FYE. It's right over there. And that is an underrated pay-per-view. Love that. Love that pay-per-view so much. And so I would turn on Raw and kind of keep up with it. Plus, Randy Orton had a monster 2008. That's when I fell in love with Randy Orton. Was not a fan of the Legend Killer. But the Viper, everything's a go. Everything's a go there. But we had a mutual love of professional wrestling. So I moved into my new house in 2009 with Angel and Nikki and Christian, her brother and sister. Her sister and brother, Nikki and Christian. And I had met Anthony and met Thomas by this point. And I knew that we had signed the lease in 2009. And we lived there for a few months, obviously. But WrestleMania season came around for the first time in 2010. So when the Royal Rumble was coming up, I knew Thomas was into wrestling. And I was like, yo, Thomas, we should get together and watch the Rumble together. And Anthony was like, yo, I'm not into wrestling, but I'll come. And so I was like, cool, what we should do is we can get the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and then we can get WrestleMania and just kind of do that for the next 3 months so that we're fully invested in like the best part of the wrestling year. Hey, how are you? How are you, Jan? I just saw you. I don't know when you commented, but I appreciate that. I'm trying to be cool, man. This is really hard to talk about. And somehow it got back to Moose. Facebook was a thing by that point. And Moose is like, yo, I would totally love to watch a wrestling pay-per-view. Matter of fact, I live in South Park with my girlfriend. We can trade places and do it at different places. And we can just do that whenever we want. I'm like, absolutely. Let's do it. Hell yeah. I love that idea. And so this is the year after Shawn Michaels Undertaker won. This is 2010. We watched the Rumble, watched the Chamber, and we watched Mania together. And we had a great time, all four of us. Sometimes Moose had to work, but it became our tradition while we both lived in South Park. We'd always watch the Road to WrestleMania together. Off and on throughout the year when we could, we get together and watch a certain pay-per-view, a SummerSlam, a Hell in a Cell, when we were able to. But Moose lived right up the street from me. So sometimes I just go kick it at his house. Again, finally getting to do regular people stuff instead of partying all the time. And who was it that introduced me to Arkham City for the first time? Moose. And the moment he was playing that game and I came over and I was watching him, I was like, oh my God, I want this game so bad. He was also a gamer, so we had that in common. And that was amazing. And it just became more habit. Me and Moose were always in touch. He'd be like, yo, can you run up the house and let the dogs out? Me and the girlfriend's going out of town. You can crash at the house. And can you crash the house, watch the dogs? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. No problem at all. So we became truly, instead of orbiting each other at this point, we become friends. We're friends at this point. So that was the common theme, was we were always coming back together for wrestling. Always coming back together for wrestling. So 2011 comes. And WrestleMania season happens again. And then we get together and watch WrestleMania, and we watch The Miz beat John Cena to retain the WWE Championship. And so the next night, we're all at Moose's watching Raw. And The Rock and John Cena are together in a ring. And they're like, ba 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 ba. And they're like, I challenge you to a match at WrestleMania next year. And everybody's like, no! The Rock's going to come back and wrestle John Cena. This is going to be awesome. We're all pumped up. And I don't know who suggested it, but we all come to mutual agreement between the four of us. We're going to save our money in order to go to Miami to watch WrestleMania 28 in person. So Moose was in charge of it. So every pay, no matter what, we had no kids at this point. Moose did have kids, but he handled his. But me, Anthony, and Thomas, we were just late 20s kids working in the shoe department, you know? So every pay, we were handing off a certain amount of our pay to Moose. And Moose was taking it to Fairmont Federal Credit Union, if you know, you know, and depositing the money there. And we're just saving this money. And eventually the tickets go on sale. And then Moose is like, say less, fam, I got you. Moose got us a hotel room with 2 double beds. He got us 4 tickets to WrestleMania. He got us plane tickets to and from Miami. We're going to WrestleMania for real. So from watching pay-per-views together, we're now going on we're going on a trip together to go hang out and be at one of the biggest events of our entire lives, because we've all loved, other than Anthony, we made Anthony love wrestling, but we all have loved WWE, WWF, WrestleMania for so long. And now we're actually going to attend this event. It was my first ever plane ride. I'd never been on a plane. And I'm going to have to stop briefly for you audio listeners. It's not going to be a real pause for you. This will be where the commercial goes. But for you visuals, you'll anybody's watching live, I have to pick it back up. But YouTube will just be like a little transition, Anthony Fantano. And so it was my first plane trip. I'm scared as hell. So scared I write my mother a letter the morning that I go, saying how scared I am and how much I love her. It mailed that thing out. Mania was on Sunday. We left on a Friday. Got there Friday night. Went all over the place Saturday, and then Mania was Sunday. So Moose picks us up in his car, the 4 of us, and he's like, yo, flight's at this time. I got to go to the Quip to get right before we go. I'm like, yo, I could really use a haircut before we go too. He's like, bet. I know a spot. We'll find it. So we go to Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, where he's from. Meet all kinds of people. Meet his mom. And Moose is taking us all around town. We eat at this restaurant. We take flicks. And we may or may not have allegedly been drinking a 30-pack in the car. I do not advocate drinking and driving, but this is what it was at the time. And we lived, and no one was hurt. But don't do that shit, because it's stupid. We were stupid. But Moose takes me to get my hair cut. This huge, buff-looking motherfucker with a bald head. He does me my normal cut, my real close Caesar, but he's like this, my head, like grabbing it and turning it very firmly. Like, I was scared. I was scared, and Moose and Anthony and Thomas were laughing at me the whole time because he was manhandling me, but the cut was nice. He did a great job on the cut. Great job on the cut, man. But finally, it was time to go get on our flight. So we're heading to the airport, and what comes on the radio? What comes on the radio?
Like, what's up, danger?
But Lady Antebellum's Need You Now. And this is like the first year this song had been out. Mind you, we all had buzzes. We had all been drinking beer. We're hurtling towards the gates of the airport. It's 1:15. I'm all alone and I need you now. And top of our lungs, screaming. There was video at one point that he lost. I think Anthony had some too on an old phone. And that was forever a memory. And then we got on our plane. I'm scared as hell. I drank another drink at TGI Fridays before I went. And something real cool about Moose that I noticed. I'd never seen anybody do this before. I've seen it since, or I just didn't pay attention. Me and Moose were sitting together. And Moose noticed somehow, like maybe saw military ID, maybe some people were in uniform, but he noticed that there was some people that was in the service. And Moose is like, "Excuse me, sir. Thank you for your service." And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And, and I was like, why is he telling this guy thank you for his service? I mean, obviously, I knew he was military, but at the same time, I was like, why is he doing that? Like, why? That's the kind of person Moose was. He very much respected the fact that anybody served the country and protected his rights. And again, this is part of what made him so beloved and so cool. And he did this several times throughout the trip, man. But thankfully, we took off, flew on down to Atlanta, made our switch over to our plane that took us into Florida. And we arrived late Friday evening. And immediately, I've told y'all the Miami story. I've written about the Miami story. I'm gonna try to keep those parts brief. But Moose was heavily involved in this. Got smacked by the warm weather. We go downstairs to a hotel bar, hanging out. Find out there's 24-hour liquor stores. We go hit them up. Moose stops and gets some food from a Cuban restaurant, I believe. And we're having a ball. We're having an absolute ball. Saturday, we get up. Still hanging out. Go to I don't even know what it's called now, but WrestleMania Access. See a first time around Drew McIntyre wrestle a on fire Zack Ryder live in person right in front of us. See Paul Bearer. We didn't pay to actually take photos or anything with him, but we see him like not that long before he passed. And we just have an incredible day together. Come back, pass out, meet up with my friend Brandon, start drinking Canadian whiskey, me and Thomas, partying. I get too drunk, I black out. I take off running down the hallway, I run into a wall, and I fall on the ground. Then I pass out in the room for the night. Next day, wake up early after crawling to bed with Anthony from not wanting to sleep on the floor anymore. Everybody's passed out. I take the Canadian whiskey, head down to the pool, get the staff to bring me towels, and I'm just chilling in the pool with my Canadian whiskey by my side. Only person on there. They thought they lost me. And they're like, "What the fuck you doing in the pool?" I'm like, I'm hanging out. It's WrestleMania Sunday. Get in the taxis, because Ubers were still a few years late. Get in the taxis, get taken to the venue. Couple hours before we're able to let in, take so many pictures, meet so many fans. Moose calls a small child part of the Fruit Loop troupe. I'm like, "Yo, you just called him gay." And he's like, "I didn't realize that's what he meant. I just thought it meant the beautiful colors." I'm like, "Moose, yes, you did." I don't believe you. His dad was not happy. And then we went into Mania, man. We're going to take a break right now because, like I said, I got to go get Aaliyah. But I'll be back to finish this conversation in this episode. And we're back. So WrestleMania Sunday, Thomas Crawford, Anthony Sellers, Kellen Conley, and Moose Smith, Miami. Like I said, we have a blast outside the stadium. Then we head inside. Our tickets had said limited view. And we know why now, because when we get to our seats finally, since the stadium was open air, they had erected a giant WrestleMania 28 banner canopy over the ring in case it rained. In order to support, that canopy, in each of the corners of the ring, they put giant palm trees. And where were we? Right there. We were on, like, the entrance ramp was like here. Like if you're on the, we were on the hard camera side, actually, of the ramp. So we could see everybody come out, and they were we had pretty good seats for that. We could see everybody as they walked in, which is super awesome. But then by the time they got down in the ring, unless the action was in the corners, we're watching the teleprompters, which is fine. Who cares? We're in Miami for WrestleMania. We had an amazing time. I watched Moose cry twice this weekend. The first time was when we went through the exhibit or the section of WrestleMania Access where they had tombstones of everybody that Undertaker had beaten up to that point. He was having his rematch with Triple H that year because they had wrestled at WrestleMania 27 a year before and Triple H lost. He got emotional while wearing an HBK shirt at Shawn Michaels' tombstone. He also got teary-eyed when Shawn Michaels came out to referee the Triple H Undertaker match. And I can say unequivocally that after that day, my opinion of Shawn Michaels changed. Because before, I was like most kids. Like when I was a kid, I mean, I had fallen out of wrestling. I was unfortunately a Hogan kid. And so by the time Brett and Shawn were the big headliners and Undertaker by the mid-90s, I was out of it, but I just kind of didn't pay any attention to Shawn. By the time I came back for the Attitude Era, Shawn had hurt himself and was the commissioner, but now I know he was heavy into drugs by that time. But I gained a lot of respect for Shawn through his matches with Undertaker and through the DX Resurrection and the more stuff I was able to take in as I was getting more and more back into wrestling. But seeing what Shawn meant to Moose was really the catalyst for what made Shawn my favorite wrestler of all time. Because if we're talking Apex, you've heard on Wrestlecast before, number 1 is Macho, number 2 is Shawn, number 3 is Dusty. Dusty is somebody that I didn't even think about like that until the WWE Network was a thing. And it was just, he had so much charisma, baby, you know. And it just truly, I don't know, it just, I've talked about my dad on the pod and how he's always like, oh, wrestling's fake, that still looks so fake. But then he, like, when it was on TV, I'm sure he misses Raw. He has SmackDown still. He'd be like, always turning on and asking questions. My dad's a secret wrestling fan. But then also, this is 2012, so by this time, I had met, no, I hadn't even met Eric yet. I hadn't met Eric Greenlee yet, Handsome Bane. Hadn't met him. I didn't meet him until we had moved to the house after the house that we were in South Park in Morgantown. And he, like him and his wife Nicole were on a road trip, and me and Nicole had known each other from the Zanga blog days in mid 2000s, and that's how they met. And then they stopped by to see us. We went out to dinner, and then they stayed at the house. Me and Eric watched Raw, and the rest is history. And now that's my guy. Like I swear my life's better with Handsome Bane in it. And so, but Moose was the first person, because Thomas was into it, but Moose really lived this shit with wrestling. And he made me want to live this shit. He made it better for me. And seeing how being able to visually see Shawn Michaels, seeing how that affected him, even though he's always like, I wasn't crying. It's cool, you were crying. It's okay to cry. Sometimes we all need to cry, especially nowadays. That's what made me truly become a fan of Shawn Michaels. Because if Shawn Michaels could make Moose emotional, because I'd never seen that from Moose, and I'd never seen that from any wrestling fan at that point, then clearly there was more than meets the eye to Shawn than what I had seen at that point, and he was absolutely right. We get through Mania, amazing event. Rock beats John Cena 1-2-3. We're leaving. Again, this is pre-Uber era. Me, Thomas, and Anthony have a flight to go back to Pittsburgh. No. Me and Anthony had a flight to go back to North Carolina, then Newark, and then Pittsburgh. And we were driving Moose's car back. I actually drove Moose's car back, which is crazy. I mean, I didn't even have a car at the time yet. I didn't get a car until a few months later when I started my current job. And he's like, no, I trust you with it. And Moose's car was everything to him. Moose's car was everything to him when he passed. Oh, man. But everybody's trying to get taxis back to their hotels, back to where they need to go. The Rock left in his big black truck. Wrestlers are leaving. Staff are leaving. And we can't get a taxi. The show ended at like 11:15, 11:30 at night. And we were out there for an hour trying to track down a taxi. And then all of a sudden, Moose starts acting funny. He's like, oh, man. Oh, man. Like, my sugar's getting low. Oh, God. And then, like, Moose had never said a word to us about being diabetic. Ever. And I feel like if you're traveling somewhere with somebody, maybe you should disclose if something's wrong with you medically just in case. So I'm immediately freaking out. Because I'm like, yo, what can we do to help you? And like, people are coming up to him and like, hey, you okay? He's like, yeah, I really just need to get back to the hotel. Gotta get my stuff. I'm like, how did he hide this from us that he was diabetic? And I don't know how he did it. But at one point I go up to him. I'm like, Moose, like, are you sure you're going to be okay? And he looks at me and goes, shh. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. But he got us a taxi. He got us on the way back. He got us back to the hotel. Crashed out for a couple hours. And then we took one more taxi back to the airport. Me, Thomas, and Anthony. Moose's boss at the time was had a place down there or something, and Moose was staying a couple more days. So he went on to go to a Marlins game, I believe, fell in love with Florida. I had already fallen in love in Florida the minute I stepped off the plane, but I will never be a Florida man. And we flew back to...
More money, more cash, more
I just
money,
played
more
that.
cash.
We flew back to North Carolina. Our flights, Thomas's flights tickets were different. So he flew somewhere different after North Carolina. Me and Anthony flew to Newark. I saw the thing. I saw the thing. I saw the Statue of Liberty for the first time, I believe. Because I don't think I saw it when we took, again, I think Nikki moved to New York in 2012, but I believe it was April 2012 the first time I saw the Statue of Liberty in person when we flew over it coming out of Newark. And we get back to Pittsburgh, meet up with Thomas, get our stuff, get in the car, drive back to Pittsburgh or Morgantown. I find out that Thomas has no idea how to use a Garmin, a GPS. But we do it. And then a few days later, Moose comes back and, it's back to business as usual. But now we had this huge life experience together. We made some friends down there that are still our friends to this day. So I quit my job at the shoe department. I began recording the material that will become Mine's Mixtape Volume 4 and Soon You Understand. Me and Angel. Oh, how could I forget? Year before, 2011, me and Angel break up again. And summer 2011, we're like broken up. And Moose, in order to get me out of Anthony's house, because I was crashing on his couch, I asked this time, in order to get me out of Anthony's house, he offered up his place several times for me to watch when he was working nights and stay with the dog. I could play games. I could watch HBO, watch TV. No questions asked. He never asked me for anything. He was constantly trying to help me. Constantly looking out for me. Of course, me and Angel put it back together. And then WrestleMania happened in early 2012. I quit shoe department. Started looking for a job. Start this thing called Tricycle Offense with Thomas and Anthony, which was inspired by Grantland, which was us doing articles and blogs. We're working on that. We did start a podcast called Trike Adventures, which was me and Anthony and Thomas, and then Nikki, and then her friend Corey, our friend Corey. And then Moose came on one night, and the weekend that Moose passed, I went back and listened to that podcast, and I just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. Because that's what he did for everybody. He made everybody so happy, man. But as things often do, moved out of the house in South Park. Moose ended up leaving the South Park area as well. Me and Angel moved back in together by ourselves in this area called Woodburn. And so that was a spot everybody would come and hang out. We did a couple pay-per-views there. And then me and Angel get to talking. She's like, we should get married. I'm like, I agree. We've been together almost 10 years. Put together the funds for a ring. Get her a ring. We get engaged until early 2013. Start planning the wedding. So we're going to get married in July. And the whole time I'm like updating Moose on stuff. We again watch a couple pay-per-views together. I'm now including my friend Gary. Jonathan's there. Jonathan hosted a few pay-per-views. We went over and hung out with him and his ex-girlfriend at their house, watched pay-per-views together. But I don't feel like I took him for granted ever. But it was nice having another friend that no matter what, man, we were just constantly in communication all the time. And he used to do business at my current employer, and he stopped by. He's like, "Look at you at your big boy job," and everybody be laughing, and like, you know that guy? I'm like, yeah, that's my boy Moose. Like, I know his account says Ernest, but I mean, y'all act like y'all know what I do, but I just try not to talk about it on the pod. But that's my dog. That's my dog, man. So when the invites went out for the wedding, I invited Moose. And I was like, yo, you gotta come. You gotta come. He's like, oh, I can't. I'm not gonna miss it. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. 3 people ended up missing my wedding. 4, but one's my fault. Sorry, Mom. But I invited Moose, I invited E, and I invited Johnny Harmonic, John Harper, another great friend. We make great music together. He's part of Sound Vision. I invited those 3 to my wedding, and all 3 of them were like, oh yeah, well, we're going to be there, we're going to be there, we're going to be there. So the week leading up, Moose is like, yo, I fucked up. I'm like, how'd you fuck up? What's wrong? He's like, yo, I got to work that night. There's no way I can get around it. I'm so sorry, but I got to work until this time. By the time I get done, by the time I'll be out to where the wedding is, it'll be over. Like, well, you could still... And he's like, yeah, I'll try to make the reception, but I can't make it. E and Johnny got caught up doing his dad's camp that they do every year in the summer. It was like tail end, beginning. I think it was tail end. They were wrapping up. They couldn't make it. But before I tell this story, I want to tell another story that I just thought of that I hadn't told. So at one point, I don't know why, but Moose had picked me up, and this is like the year before. So this is like 2012 still. It was warm, and Moose had picked me up. Oh, also, y'all remember planking? My man was the king of planking. Like the whole thing where you would lay flat on anything. King of planking. Did not matter. His Facebook is full of planking pictures, and I love it for him. I love that for him. King of Facebook bans too, because he will always push it a little too far on Facebook. It's like, He would love it now that they don't give a fuck what you say on there. Man. Absolutely love it. So, I didn't finish telling the story. I'm sorry. I keep getting caught up. Yeah, he picked me up late one night. He's like, oh, I got to stop by my boss's job real quick. And then I got to drive out to here. And then we'll go back to the crib and, whatever. Maybe I was crashing with him that night. I don't remember. Or maybe we were just kicking it. Doesn't matter. But go see his boss. He's probably in a little shop with his boss for like 25 minutes, half an hour. We drive out to some development somewhere in Morgantown. And he stops and parks in the road. And then he runs inside to do whatever he's doing. Wherever we're at. And I was like, well, we're kind of like, it's nighttime. He has a black car. The lights are on. But I don't want anybody thinking, bothering me, like you okay, or trying to mess with me. So I'm like, I'm going to turn on his hazards so that his vehicle, so that people will know it's his vehicle. So I turn on his hazards. He comes back out. I was like, hey, I turned your hazards on since you've been on the road. He's like, oh, no problem. He goes, turn them off. They won't shut off. So the whole ride back to his house, he's cussing because these hazard lights won't go off. And then I want to mention this years later. He's like, I don't remember that. I'm like, oh, come on. You were so mad. But back to the wedding. Moose says, I'm so sorry I can't come to your wedding. But look, if you need anything, let me know. So me and Angel were like, let's do the you don't see the bride the night before thing. But I have family members in, like mom, my aunt, my nieces, or my cousins actually, staying at the house. And Angel's at the house, obviously. So I was like, you stay here at the house. I'm going to go crash at Moose's. And in the morning, I'll come back over. because I'll have your car, because I think I had Angel's car and somebody took her up to the venue. I'll have your car, and then I'll get Mark up, who was one of my groomsmen. We'll get ready, and then me and Mark can ride up, because I rode with Mark to the wedding. So, damn, and I think Mark went out into town, and I couldn't find him for a little bit, which was hilarious. But I was like, yo, can I just crash at your place? And he's like, absolutely, no problem. Nobody will be there. I got work. He was DJing at the strip club. That's what he was doing, man. So come over, get situated. He's like, yo, whatever you want. PS3's right there. Play games. You can watch DVDs. Crash here. I put on clean sheets. And I'm like, and good luck tomorrow. Love you, all that shit. And that night, it was just me in the house. It was in a little development that's right outside of town. And at first I was trying to play MLB The Show 07 on PS3, and I was playing terrible. So I was like, I ain't in this shit, because I was from MLB 06 when I could actually hit, and I couldn't hit in 07. So I was like, whatever. So I was like, yo, he's got Zach and Miri make a porno. I can't remember if I had seen it at that point. Possibly. Maybe I had gotten from Netflix and we made a copy by then. But I popped in Zach and Miri. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. And it was the perfect way to spend my last night as a bachelor. My bachelor party was cool. The stripper spanked me. I had welts. Me and Matt got in an argument. Wasn't great. But the night before, when I just had that calm and the peace and tranquility of Moose's house and got to watch one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. Again, it's a memory I'll never forget. And it's so stupid, but you know who brought me that? Moose. Moose gave me that. So, get married, go to Jamaica, super sperm. Aaliyah's on her way. So we still did a few more pay-per-views, obviously. But the Royal Rumble was coming to Pittsburgh in 2014. And I did two major trips before Aaliyah arrived in April 2024. First one was January for the Royal Rumble. So me and Jonathan and Gary and Anthony, we drove up Friday evening through horrible weather, linked up with my boy Mike Osti. He took us to go see a comedian in town. His name's Dave Bracey. And now Dave Bracey runs Barrel and Flow, which has been won 2 years in a row, the best beer festival in America from USA Today. They're going on year 5 of Barrel and Flow, and I can't wait to go again. And maybe, just maybe, your boy will get to perform. I highly doubt it. I applied. Shout out to Jesse. But, yeah, and me and Dave's been cool ever since. And Osti set that up, but Moose had to work Friday night, and Thomas had to work Friday night. So Saturday, after we had pretty much, I think we, because of the weather and stuff, I can't really remember what we did Saturday during the day, but by the time they got there, we ended up going out to a couple bars downtown with Osti. It was around his birthday. He just had a birthday pass, so happy birthday, Osti. Friend of the show, guest of the show, one half of the Hal Witzer Buzzsaw Show and Hyphen podcast group. Yeah, it was a great time. And then Moose is there, and there's photos of us. We're all hanging out in Gary's old, I believe it was the Equinox, having a great time. Photos of us in the hotel. It was just like old times. So the next day, I think it was Moose. He's like, let's go to this place called Church Brew Works. So we went. It was an old church that they turned into this beer place, this restaurant. Had an amazing time there. We go to the Rumble. Our seats were way up there at PBG. But, and like literally if, like you know where, like the entrance where they used to have the giant, Titantron, essentially, we were right up there. like next to the screen. But I got to see Punk's last match before he left WWE. I got to see a great Royal Rumble other than the outcome of Batista going over. But we had another great time. And the other trip was I went to Cleveland with E and Six and Willie, and we had a great time. And I saw my first first and only NBA game. I saw the Cavs, and a fan ran out there to Kyrie Irving and begged him to stay because this is like a couple years after LeBron had left, and it's literally right before LeBron came back in the summer of 2014. But again, just always a fun time. But April comes, Aaliyah's born. Moose clearly understands he had kids of his own. He had boys of his own. They're grown up and well, I wish that he would be here for them, but he's not. He's not. And that, yeah. So I'm learning how to be a dad. My time is limited, but we are always still staying in contact. So Aaliyah, we get Aaliyah to 1 year old. So it's like 2015. Angel and I were talking about how we wanted to buy a house, but that we weren't quite there yet to buy a house. We didn't think. So we wanted to wait one more year for some reason. I'm sure she might be able to remember, but we weren't ready to buy a house yet. So we rented one more place, and it was off of, there's a section of town called the Mile Ground. And it was off the Mile Ground. And so we were moving stuff in. And I did what I always did whenever I moved as a college student. I hit up everybody I knew. I'm like, hey, come help me move. And people come help me move. And who showed up at some point? It was Moose. And me and Moose are kicking it. We're moving stuff. And we're trying to get the washer dryer that we had bought at the previous residence in the basement. Now, one thing that Moose is scared of, he hated spiders. He absolutely hated spiders. Matter of fact, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to switch over here. Oh, well, shout out to that. Let's kill the text here. I don't know where my camera is, so hold on. Twitch. How come it's... Where's my camera? Hold on. Podcasting 101 for sure right now. Oh, because it's locked. Let me see if I can't fit the screen. Oh, okay, there I am. All right, now let's see if I can remember my OBS skills here. All right, cool. So we're just going to drop me down in this corner real quick. And this is kind of perfect. So I want to see the other window. Can I see the other window? Ah, that'll do it. Haha. So, all right, give me a second. All right, so let me pop this over here real quick. All right, and then we'll change the video here. Because I don't want Chrome. Let's see. Hold on. I know this ain't great for you audio users, but here we go. All right, I got it. All right. Naturally, it's not playing back. I'm just gonna let y'all hear the audio. Moose is scared of spiders. There's a spider in the corner of this video, and he's literally scaling up, trying to get this spider. He's spraying it with Pledge or something. Wait for it. Wanting it to die. OBS hates me. Show Moose, man. Oh, it stinks. Anyway. No, it's supposed to be the Honda. I don't know, man. But he was scared of spiders. But the reason I told that story is because... Oh, he's still fighting with the spider. The reason I told that story is because... Like I said, we're trying to get my washer and dryer in, and it's in this little crawl space ass basement, man. It's rinky dink. It's a little scary down there. I ain't gonna lie. It's a little scary. All kinds of spiders and stuff. And you know who was helping me get that stuff in there, even though he was terrified? Moose Smith was helping, man. You heard the noise the man made. He hated spiders. He hated spiders. God, I don't even know what to say. This is still crazy to me. But Moose decided he wanted to stop DJing. He said,
That's not what I want!
And he decided to become a correctional officer at a local prison. Better money, terrible hours. But that's what he started doing. And so, because of his hours, I started seeing less and less and less of Moose, which is fine. I had a family, a small family now. But at the same time, always in communication with Moose. Always. Anthony went to WrestleMania New York, New Jersey with Moose in 2013. And they had a ball. I wish I could have gone. But I couldn't swing another WrestleMania. And plus, I didn't want to take the chance of like Angel, something happening with Angel, me not being able to get back to her quickly. So I didn't really invest too much thought into trying to go. But they had an amazing time. But because Moose became a correctional officer, he started looking for opportunities to get back to Florida. And he did. He found a prison in Miami, and he decided he was going to uproot, and he was going to Miami. He had a party at what was used to be known as the Lazy Lizard. And I have this picture of him just cheesing on the stage in his little Batman shirt, and he's got like this cup in his hand. I also have a great picture of him in a Batman shirt of wine and jazz with this amazing pimp cup, man. And he just looks so happy, so carefree. I was so happy for him. And he moved. And then, not that long after he moved, Aaliyah's getting bigger, but we're still in touch. But, you know, he comes up, but I don't even know. But he doesn't, like, he's only really in to do a couple things. He doesn't really have time to hang, which I get. He's trying to see who he can see. And I called him out a few times for him, like, oh, you're in town. And he's like, oh, yeah, but, you know, we just didn't link up. There's a few times I knew he was in town. He wanted me to come meet up with him and stuff, but I didn't. I was like, oh, I ain't trying to go downtown. I ain't about that life. It's late. I ain't built for it. So I didn't. But Moose meet someone. Now, Moose had a couple girlfriends since I'd known him. Him and his long-term girlfriend that he had been with when we really started getting close, they ended up breaking up. But he meets this woman down in Florida. And next thing I know, he's like, we're getting married. I'm like, what? That's what's up. That's incredible. I can't go, clearly. But he live streamed it. My man looks so clean. Damn, maybe that's the picture I should use for the cover photo. So many good pictures of Moose. And he got married. Had 2 stepkids now, in addition to his kids. But most of all, he seemed happy. So again, always in contact with social media and text messages and Messenger, and always where we had come like together like this once I had Aaliyah and got married, and he went and became a correctional officer and then moved away and he got married. We're revolving around each other again, but we're never that far apart. Like, this is my guy. And so, like I said, he would come in town and I'd miss him, and he'd go see Melissa, and I was always missing him, always missing him, always missing him. Then a few years later, I don't know if we were on the phone or what it was, but he's like, "Oh, we're moving to South Carolina." And he always said to me, and he was trying to convince us to come down to Florida all the time, me and Anthony and Tom. He's like, "Y'all won't need anything. Come to the crib. You'll stay here. We'll take care of y'all. We'll have fun." And we never took him up on the offer. And Anthony's always like, "Let's do it." I'm like, "I want to, but I got responsibilities." Not that Anthony didn't have responsibilities, but I had responsibilities that I couldn't just drop like that. Like, I felt bad for dropping. If I came to Angel and said, "Hey, I'm going to go this, and go to Florida and hang out at Moose's house for X amount of days," she would have found a way to make it happen, because that's who Angel is. But the point is, I never took him up on any of those offers. But he's like, "I'm moving to South Carolina, Monk's Corner. Like, same thing. You can come to the crib, hang out. Like, I'd love to have you. Miss you so much, bro." He was always telling people how much they meant to you before it was cool. Because I like to say, in the last 8 years, I have evolved as a man, as a person. I'm willing to show emotion. Clearly, if you've followed any of these podcasts, you know I'm okay with showing emotion. I'm okay with telling people I love them. And I'm okay with making sure that I tell people what they mean to me. And it's something that I've put at the end of my podcast for years, and I know I got it from Moose, man. He was never fake. Ever. Ever. He was dumb as hell. Say the stupidest shit, the funniest, most repulsive, rudest shit you could say in the worst moment, but he was so freaking pure. He was too good for this world, man. So, they kind of lead up to it. Like I said, Moose is always coming in and out of town, and I didn't know I'd miss him by a couple days, or when I got a hold of him. And sometimes I call him, and he had deleted my number from his phone. Whose number is this? It's Kellen. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, bro, how do you not know it's me? Like, I literally talked to you on this number. But I don't know if it had to do with his job or just the stress of everyday life and beating him down. January 22nd, 2019. Happy big, homie. Love and miss you, bro. Thanks, love and miss you too, homie. So I posted on McCumber's post about posting an 11 pic on my phone. It was a vagina, and now I'm blocked from both my Facebook accounts. Achievement unlocked. God, I miss him so much. He said it was racial profiling. I said, apparently, he said, I did just put a pussy on Facebook, but he did ask for it in a manner of speaking. Oh, man. Random YouTube video from April 2019. Charlie Brown and the Eastern. Oh. Sasha Banks liked my tweet. Oh my God. I don't know what was going on, but August 11, 2020, I said, if you die before I see you again, I'm going to kick your ass. He said, I ain't going nowhere. I just want everyone to watch their asses. I texted him when I found these giant spiders down here when the water came in through this door because somebody left it unlocked. And me and Anthony were down here shop vacuuming the entire floor. I sent him the pictures, and he said, burn the house down right fucking now. And I said, bro, there were two. I screamed and ran. And he said, by the way, who is this? Message me after you burn the house down. And I said, Kellen? He said, new phone, old brothers, old number's gone, bro, sorry. And I said, no worries, brother. Oh my God, you need to come visit. Just flight. Y'all crashing me. Last stop for Florida Keys. We can drink and beach and fish and nothing else. Man. Here it is. Here, October 20th, 2022. Going to Joe Mama's. Hashtag no hope. I was knocked out. All good, bro. I'm in Facebook jail. Oh, man. Happy birthday, bro. Oh, God. His birthday's coming up March 8th. All right, let's get into the finale, man. Weekend of April 12th, last year. I'm just scrolling through my Instagram stories, and I told you he never would tell me when he came in. I was always catching him too late, or when he was here, he wanted me to come out to Lazy Lizard in the middle of the night, and I was like, Joe Mama's. Love you. I see his custom bright blue, the Hornet on both sides, beautiful vehicle on my friend Mackenzie's Instagram story. And I'm like, one, I didn't know Mac knew him. So I was like, yo, tell Moose that I want to see him. Please. Mac, being the stand-up gal that she is, she did. Because she had just met Moose. She saw his car, came out and was checking out his car because he parked in her neighborhood. And they immediately hit it off because everybody freaking loved Moose. But then she sees him again. It's like, hey, Hyphen said, and he's like, oh, you know Hyphen? Hyphen said, hit him up. So, April 13th. What up, fucker? I'm in town. Mackenzie said I failed to get an alert of my arrival. And I said, hello, fucker, LOL. What do you have going on today? He said, Comic-Con in Pittsburgh, staying in Morgantown, hit you when I get back later. He sends me photos of him and Batman and Catwoman and him and Poison Ivy and Joker. These pictures are going to break me. He sent me pictures from Comic-Con in Pittsburgh. Then he says, just got back. Going to hit up Roosters next to my hotel if you're free. Just got back in from mowing. Let me get a shower. I'll hit you back. No worries, brother. If you can't make it, it's all good. After that, I know you're tired. I want to see you, LOL, all caps. Smiley face from him. Okay, I'm getting dressed to let Roosters. Going to walk over a minute, talking to wife, and then he's at the bar on my way. Anthony links up with us. So we go to this restaurant in town called Rooster's Roost. New restaurant. I believe there's another location in PA. They've been open for over a year now. Fantastic menu, a very heavy menu, but their food is fire. And they make the best chicken in town, the best fried chicken in Morgantown. Best. And the thing is, and I'm sure it's still the same, if you stay late enough to when they close down the kitchen, they have to get rid of that extra chicken. And if you're around, you can get some free chicken. And that's what happened to Moose the night before, and that's what we were waiting for this night. And we got the free chicken. So I had chicken to take home. But then Moose is like, yo, before y'all go, you want to go for a ride in my whip? Nice whip, man. I want to say it's a Mustang, but don't quote me. It's not a Charger, but I'm pretty sure it's a Mustang. It's like, yeah, absolutely. So he pulls out of the restaurant, and the restaurant is on top of a hill. So we come down, and then we're heading out towards the strip. There's a little strip. There's interstate like exits to the right. And if you keep going, you're heading towards Grafton here in West Virginia. And he just floors it. He's like, I'm like, oh my God. And I had been drinking at this point. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to kill us. He's going to kill us. He's going to kill us. Oh my God, I'm never going to see anybody again. But he slowed down. He laughed. And he turned around. He came back. And he takes us back up to where our cars are at. And then, I don't know how it happened. And yes, I'm a man of 41 then, 42 now. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do a bat wing on the side of your car. If you know, you know. And he's like, I want you to. So I did a bat wing on the side of his car. I said, don't you ever wash that spot again. He said, I won't. Then we part ways, me, him, and Anthony. Anthony gets in his whip. I get in mine. He goes back to his hotel. Oh, man. He texts me later that night. He says, half naked in my hotel room eating a day-old cheese hot dog like the good Lord intended. I sent him a fire emoji. Then I sent him a gif of Sheryl Crow saying, if it makes you happy. He rolling the floor laughing emojis. Then I say, wait. Because I was checking out who was at Comic-Con that he went to. Did you see Gina Davis or the 90210 cast too? He said, I saw them. Wasn't interested in 90210. My childhood self still hates Brenda. R.I.P. Shannon Doherty. He's like, Gina Davis's line was long AF. And I was already hemorrhaging money. I said, I'd risk it all for Jenny Garth. Then he hits me up on Sunday, 1:33. We drinking again, weenie? I'm like, LOL. Hell no, I'm trying to take a nap. He said, SMH, here I thought you were B Hyphen. You bring shame upon his name. B Hyphen likes to sleep on his day off. He said, but you never get to see me, much less 2 days in a row. What if a trucker kidnaps me on the way home and tickles my butthole? Then what? I said, you'll love it. He said, I've been kidnapped and diddled. You may never see me again. I'll be a broken shell of a man with a diddled pooper. And I said, I'll always have the memory. You'll always have the memory of putting a bat wing on the side of your car. And I said, I'll take the good memories with me. But for real, sleep isn't happening, but I have to wash some dog beds and then drag my carcass to the front yard to mow. He said, I hope you poop yourself and the neighbor seen it. I didn't mean that. Or maybe I did. Give my family my love, bro. And he got into Susan Sarandon and him like she was being a bitch or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Then me and Anthony go to Roosters. I send him a selfie. He's like, you get the free chicken? I'm like, no. He said, don't tell me the chicken ain't fucking bomb. Then May 20th, I need you to overnight me some chicken. Then me and Angel and Anthony go in June. He sends me middle finger. He's on Facebook timeout. Oh man. And then out of nowhere, I told you how he hit on Angel out of nowhere. And he said, I'll never forget I tried to holler at a buddy's girl while he was sitting at the table. I said, LOL. He said, I can never apologize enough for it. So I forgot all about it. He said, I didn't know. I said, I know you didn't. He said, you got a down ass when everyone should be as lucky. He said, I can't post it all. Don't know why. Can you please inform the masses? I did. And this is on August 18th, man. So I post about him not being able to post on his wall. Like, hey, Moose is been for Facebook. He's want me to pass along. A mutual acquaintance of ours says nobody gives a fuck. I don't know why, but also nobody gives a fuck about him. I don't, especially not after that comment. Dead to me after that, because it was completely uncalled for. Just ignorant stuff. Ignorant social media stuff. Whatever. He says, should I feel some way about his response or am I overthinking? Said he's never been shit. Fuck him. And that was the last thing that he sent to me, was a salute sign on Tuesday, August the 20th. Oh, God. So, I don't remember. Let me just look. I was in my yard. I may have been mowing. So I'm thinking it was Sunday the 18th. And unfortunately, my phone no longer has our call log because it's been a minute since we had spoken on the phone. Oh, God. Moose calls me, and he tells me a couple things, and I'm just going to be 100% honest with what he said, because he's not here to say it. And if anybody hears the sound of my voice and hears this, it came straight from his mouth, from his mouth to my ears, and I'm now saying it to you. He calls me and he's like, yo, I got an idea for you, bro. Because he was so proud of me getting the album out. Got an idea for you, bro. I need you to do a song representing the stepdads and how hard it is to be a stepdad. And he's like, I think you would be the person to do it. I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know anything about being a stepdad, but I mean, I can see what I can do, you know? How come it doesn't have this missed call from Moose or a received call from Moose? Hold on. Let's see if I can't find it, because I know it should be in here. Unless he called me on Messenger. That was November, May. Dang, maybe it was on my old phone. I can't remember when I got my Pixel. But he's like, yo, going through it down here. It's like, me and the wife, we're getting a divorce. Again, I'm saying it. Him and his wife were in the process of getting a divorce. And he told me things have been bad. He said his stepson was acting out. Apparently he had gotten physically violent with his wife, and his wife refused to press charges because that was her baby and he had actually hurt her. But he was just saying things were bad and they're trying to figure things out, but he's on his way to divorce. But he wanted me to hear from him what was going on. Mind you, like, I friended his wife after they got married. And I would always see him pop up on her posts and stuff and would like it and stuff. Like, didn't really interact too much because I didn't know her. But that was one of my best friend's wife. So I was like, I'm going to add her. I don't really know this woman, but she seems cool. And if she's the one that won his heart, then I want to be a part of that social media life. A few months before I got this call, like, she had unfriended me for some reason, but then she said it was work related. But then Moose tells me this. He's like, we're getting divorced. Her son physically hurt her. She won't do anything about it. I got to get out of this house. Like, these kids won't listen to me. He did this. And he told us some other stories about this son when he was up here in Morgantown about some crazy shit that he did at school. But I got to get out. I'm miserable. I just want to be happy. But I want you to hear from me what's going on and why it's happening. And, brother, I love you. And, when I was thinking about this idea, I just know you can pull it off. And we were talking about some Joe Budden stuff. He's like, I don't even really mess with Joe. And I'm talking about Joe Budden, like, musically, not Joe Budden the podcaster, because that's not for me. I was like, no, he's really got some real deep stuff that I think you'd appreciate if you're having a hard time. Because something, despite the public displays and the social media funny and the TikTok stuff, he made a delivery driver like do some kind of dance when they dropped off his food, and he filmed it on the ring, and he thought it was the best shit ever. Moose dealt with severe depression. This is one of the few times that he really showed me that side. Like, I saw it like a couple times in those South Park years when we were hanging out together all the time. But he was always focused on making people laugh and bringing joy into people's life and the next experience. He never... He coped, and I don't know what steps he took outside of that he never told me. I don't know if he ever went to therapy. I don't know if he ever shared feelings. I don't know if there was ever any attempt for him to get help with his depression. But I knew it was there, and he would say some shit every now and again, and I'd yell at him for it. Like that whole thing about, you better not die before I see you again. And he never shared his pain. He always shared the joy. He always shared the laughter. But he never shared his pain. Not with me. I wish he would have. Because I don't know if I've been able to keep him here or not. And I know you can't worry about the what ifs, but I wanted to at least try. But he never gave me that opportunity. He gave me... He gave so much of himself to the world, to his friends, to his family, to his kids. Even in the memes and all the jokes and all the funny shit he would post on Facebook, he was constantly giving. But he never gave himself a break. I just hope that despite whatever he was going through, I just hope that he knows what kind of light he was for everybody. He was such a great person. If y'all can hear that squeaking, that's Aaliyah upstairs. He was such a great person. And I feel like I took him for granted, but I know I didn't, but I just wish he was still here. Because he was one of the dopest human beings I've ever known. And I love him. And I miss him. And to think that we only had... God, if you count when we started hanging out in 2009 as our official friendship mark, like... I have 15 years and that's it? That's terrible math. No, I think it's right. It's right. It sucks. Just sucks. Just sucks so much. But I don't know what happened. I mean, clearly we all have been told that he killed himself. Some of my friends choose not, like, they don't believe it. They don't want to believe it. They don't think he ever would. They feel like there was foul play, but we weren't there. None of us were there because he's in freaking South Carolina and we're all up here. I miss him so much. I started playing Minecraft in November and recently just bought a little outfit for my little character. I got a Batman outfit because he freaking loved Batman so much. So I'm wearing it as my tribute to Moose on the game. I got a Spider-Man too. Don't worry. But let this podcast stand as a monument, a testament, a living testament to Ernest Mateo, Moose Smith, and to everybody whose lives he touched. Because Moose, like I said, he would say some wild ass shit at the wrong time if he thought it was funny. But I loved Moose so much. I loved him so much. I love him so much. And I miss him every single day. But as long as I'm here, his memory will never die. And now that this is recorded, anybody who listens to Hyphen Nation and gets to this episode 118, is that what this is? 218? Is that what it is? Will know that Moose is amazing. And I wish that y'all could know Moose. And I'm lucky I've known Moose too. So lucky I've known Moose too. So I pray for all his friends and family who miss him like I do, and pray that they found some kind of peace with his passing. And I pray that he found peace in his passing too. God, he deserves so much better. He was the best, man. I'm going to wrap this up because Aaliyah's going to be out of the shower soon. It's going to be time to get her to bed and everything like that. But here's the basics, man. My name is B Hyphen, a.k.a. Kellen Conley. Moose Smith was one of my best friends, and he was the best. You can reach me at bhyphen@gmail.com. I'm Hyphen Universe on Blue Sky. Website's hyphenuniverse.com, bhyphen.co. Coming soon. My music is available on bhyphen.bandcamp.com. Hyphen Nation is brought to you by Hyphen Podcast Group. Podcast Collective, bringing great podcasts to the people. Powered by great names such as Marcus Shaw, Mad Love Robinson, Kat Chinetti, Eric Hansen, Bane Greenlee, Michael Lamarique, Melisette, George the Howitzer Gerbo, Mike Bussell-Osty. I love all you guys. Peace and love to all the Hyphen Podcast Group fam. You can also reach out at hyphenpodcastgroup.com. Power of positivity is real. Get that negativity out of your life, no matter what it may be, no matter what you have to do. You got to do you. Always. No matter what. And with that said, give people their flowers while they're still here. I know I told Moose I loved him a lot because he always was telling me how much he loved me and how proud he was of me. But tell people, because you just never know. You never know. Life's not fair. It's called life. You just never freaking know. Tell people how much they mean to you. Tell them, please. Because you never know when it's their time to go. Oh, man. Please be good to each other. And I know I stole the Jerry Springer line because my mind is fried at this point. I can't think of what I normally say. I normally say something along the lines of be kind. I don't know. Be kind to each other because you never know what the next man or woman's going through, or they or them. And your kind words can save their life or someone else's. So always try to be genuine. Have genuinely good moments with people. Because you just never know. Shout out to all the short people that Moose just thought was amazing. This man stole somebody's leg at a party he was at like last year. 2 years ago. Like him and his wife were out and there was somebody with a prosthetic leg, and sure enough, this fool had a picture with the prosthetic leg by then, and that's who Moose was, man. Just the leg. Holding up like a baseball bat with the biggest grin on his face, man. What was wrong with this dude? I swear. All right. I needed that. I Moose, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you realize how many people whose lives you made better down here. And I hope that you're happy now. Thank you to everyone who listens to the sound of my voice. Thank you everybody who listens to the pod. It really means the world to me. Thank you for sitting through yet another cry session with Hyphen. Like, I give a shit that you did. But if you made it here, thank you so much. For those of you who might be watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. I would love that. If you're watching on Twitch right now, I can accept subscribers, so you can follow, or you can even subscribe. Give me some of that Prime subscription money if you got it. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Excuse me. But I got nothing left. But this had to be done. So now that we've properly honored Moose, then we can get back to our regularly scheduled. Now we can get back to our regular Hyphen content, Hyphen Nation content. I'm not going to say regularly scheduled. Moose, I love you, man. I miss you. Thank you for everything. But I say all that to say this. Thanks, y'all.
This is a Hyphen Podcast production.
Are you not entertained?